Suave afternoon, suave afternoon, suave afternoon. This is Brother Suave, your mind-blowing, thought-provoking, and eye-opening on-air personality, life coach, psychotherapist, author, and creator. Hope you guys having a suavelous day.
Yeah, and with that, let's commence to pay.
Okay, I'm so suavelous, you so suavelous.
Together we can fix the trauma that's befallen us.
Divine social interactions remains marvelous.
Mind-blowing, suavelicious talk, higher consciousness. But think, let not your hearts be troubled, Dr. Brother Suave.
Divine light give you dough.
Welcome to another episode of Social Therapy. My name is Brother Wali. Your good brother, Dr. Suave R. Walker, is handling some personal business. And we know that business is going to be handled. And I, one of his good brothers, on the path towards elevating your consciousness, will be here filling in with you for the divine, mind-blowing, and thought-provoking social therapy commentary that we're going to have today. It's been an enjoyable week for the most part, some challenges. A lot of you know that are out there, but we do have a special guest. This being May Mental Health Month, I think a lot of us, all of us, need to be aware of the conversations that you hear abroad, locally, and of course on this show to see what you can do to affect change when it comes to that area. In this episode tonight, the special guest is a brother that Dr. Suave R. Walker has known and thought it would be a good informational piece to bring him on. I want to give you a little bit of background about this brother and let him tell the rest on the journey that he's making towards making the changes necessary in the world of not only mental health, but mentorship locally and abroad. Based on the information, Mr. Christopher Timothy Fowler is the president and executive director of Boys to Men Foundation. Christopher was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and a graduate of Medgar Evers College with a BA in elementary education in 1995. As a young male, Christopher would always strive to bring people of all walks of life together in his walks. Upon graduating from Medgar Evers, he began a career in the educational system and has played an integral role in the lives of young people ever since. Now, this good brother has been a pre-K teacher for nearly 30 years. Back in his hometown in New York, he first noticed the much needed presence of positive male role models in the underprivileged communities, and it was non-existent. Now, there's a lot he has going on, and I want to give him some time to tell you. But based on what I know, Dr. Brother Suave R. Walker met this brother when he was in Charlotte, and he didn't know anybody else. And he said he found somebody that was into mentorship like him, and he said it had to be a kindred spirit to bring this brother into his life. Now with his business venture, Boys to Men, and I want you to understand what that means. Raising boys to be men is an integral part of mentorship. Now, his quest for counseling young teens through programs like Big Brother and Big Sisters of America, he was a big brother himself for over 5 years, and in the WYMCA, where he continues to be active today. I want this brother to come on, and we're going to share some thoughts and theories on how we can improve each other's own quest towards mentorship and see how it can help you affect the change in your life. Coming to the airwaves, this good brother, Christopher Timothy Fowler. Welcome to the show, my brother. Yes, we are waiting for him to come on. Again, we are going live with Dr. good brother Christopher Timothy Fowler. Again, family, do hold on. I am sure good brother in the background, our technical expert Sheldon, is making sure that we all will be seen and heard. So do not leave the airwaves. We will come back. We will make sure that you get the full breadth of the show. Please be patient. In the area of television, radio, any type of production you do, these things can happen. So please stand by as we will come through with the audio and visual of the show. Again, if Sheldon is anything you need to do, if you need to contact me, I'm right here. Hopefully we can make this happen. And personally, it's showing me in the show, and I am 7 minutes, 24 seconds in. Let me just say this, family, on behalf of mental health. If we can do know this, as we are now at 8:37. If anybody has any challenges out there, when you hear this program, back yourself. Please be advised, please be aware. If you have anybody that you know has a mental health challenge, especially in the wake of what has happened, not only in Buffalo over 10 days ago, what has happened recently in Uvalde, Texas, where 19 children have been murdered and 2 adults, and a whole host of other shootings over the course of this history in this country, I would advise that you tell somebody, talk to somebody, seek out help. There's no such thing as snitches. If you know somebody's carrying an assault rifle, any type of weapon, even if it's not an assault rifle, if you know somebody's in a position to do somebody harm, say something to somebody somehow, somewhere. Make sure it's evident, it's known. Make sure the people in power, whatever you perceive power to be to you. And I'm talking about communication. Communication is key in power. You are powerless if you are not speaking and somebody's being affected. I'm saying that to you over the air while we're waiting for our good brother to come on. You are powerless. There we go. Are you with me?
Thank you.
Technical difficult. I was holding it down.
Hey, you was holding it down. You was holding it down.
Yes. Did you hear my good introduction about you, brother?
I was about to tell you. Listen, that was a Oscar award type introduction, minus the slap. But I love it. I love it.
Did I miss? Yeah, I got you minus the slap. That's a mental illness case too that hopefully Brother Will is seeking some help on. He got inner anger issues that may need to be uplifted and taken to another level. Because I did a program called What If? I also do a podcast. And I said, what if this brother really got problems? Y'all clowning him and thinking that slap is just something he premeditated. He had a moment. And anybody that has any physical altercation with anybody, road rage, a slap, shootings, which we'll get into, we got to discuss what was dormant in you that came out at the inappropriate time. But everything I said about you, everything I said about you, brother, and you being a few years my junior, I'm interested in what made you go into the Boys to Men program as a vehicle for learning for young people, because that's one of my passions too, because we have a lack of men, especially in the Black community, to help Black men grow into the men they need to be.
Well, like you said, it's about that mental. And being from Brooklyn, I used to get in some things. I used to get in a lot of things. I used to be in them streets. But there was an incident that happened to me. And I'm the oldest of 7. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in East New York.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something that happened. We used to hang out at a friend's house to watch the football game and stuff like that. So this one time I was watching the game, and one of the drug dealers was clowning me because I just got back my first year in college, so they was clowning me, and me being who I still has a temper, we got in a fight. So with this fight, one of the drug dealers, one of his runners, stabbed me 2 times in my back.
Wow.
So one of my friends that was there put me in his car and drove me to Brookdale Hospital, where I was put a tube down my nose. I had collapsed lung, and I was in hospital for 2 weeks. So when I got out the hospital, I got my strength back. I was in there for 2 weeks, but after another 2 weeks, I got my strength back. But I was mentally, I was angry, Brother White. I was angry. So I was walking around the street carrying a gun, and I was looking for the person who I knew that stabbed me. And this one day, it was in the evening. I was under the L train, and I saw him. I saw him. So I ran up behind him. I had my gun out, went behind him, and I pulled the trigger, and it jammed.
Wow.
The guy turned around, and it wasn't him. It wasn't him. So I wiped off that gun and put it in the mailbox. And that was over 30 years ago. And I never touched another gun after that. Moved to Charlotte. And a friend of mine's, D'Angelo Robinson, said, Mr. Fowler, all the boys gravitates to you. So came up with a program that we had thought about together. And it started up with 2 boys in the school at Moorhead. The 2 boys became 5, and 5 became 10, and 10 became 20. So we had started the Boys and Men Foundation. It wasn't a nonprofit, but it's been a nonprofit now for over 12 years here in Charlotte.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
God is good, brother. When I say that, I meant the God in you.
Yes.
For first of all, recognizing you could have killed the wrong man, brother.
Yeah. I wouldn't be.
What we call that divine intervention by the gun jamming.
Yes.
You understand what I mean? Like, I never been in that position. I grew up in the Bronx. We got that kindred spirit.
Yeah.
What part of Brooklyn again, bro?
East New York.
Eastern New York. Okay. So that's not far from Brevoort Projects and all of that.
Yeah. I got this saying, a police officer pull you over for speeding, and he got a call, and you had your gun in your car, and he didn't put any. The call made him forget about you. He had to go somewhere else. So some people might call that a get over. I call that a do over. I got a do over. I had an opportunity to do something over instead of being as a get over.
Do the right thing.
Yes, sir. So I'm not getting over from not shooting him. God gave me a do over. So my do over is when I came into Charlotte to start the Boys to Men program. We had about over 3,500 boys that came through our program over these past 12 years. Over 3,500 boys. We have boys that I just went to a graduation party this past Saturday. I have boys that's in Livingstone College, and it's just amazing. We got Winston-Salem. We have A&T, that we have young men in these universities and colleges. Like I said, we don't get opportunities like this often. So when you get that get over, don't treat it like a get over. So I treat this opportunity as a blessing, that it helps me mentally when I come to a session. I talk about what I have done and what I have been through, and the feeling that these boys give me when I'm at a mentoring session. It's a blessing.
I
So
was going to ask you what was the pivotal point to make you carry on with this. You just gave it to me, having to not shoot somebody, but now giving back to the life of young men. One of the things I just thought about when you said that, is there a percentage of these men who don't have black role model fathers in their life? Because that's a key issue to me. If you don't have a black male role model, I take it you have children, brother?
yes, yes.
I have sons and daughters, they're in their 30s. And I had good male mentorship in the 70s, right? I had a coach, martial art trainer, people who looked out for me. And I had a stepfather in the home, right? But I seen a lot of young men who didn't have that. And when you look at the history of them now, some of them turned out all right. I know a lot of them who were angry young men. So I think you're working with them, seeing you as a father figure. I could say a lot of them see you as an uncle or father figure, right?
Yes, yeah. And we have it's 90%, it's a little over 90% of the boys in our program that does not have a father in the household. 90%. 90%. And right now, currently,
That's
we have
high.
we have 125 boys in the program.
Whoa.
So it's a very, very high number. And the beautiful thing is, like Brother Suave and the other 15 mentors, we have some wonderful, wonderful men that take their time and their expertise and they sow into the boys in the program. I'm just so
There you go.
honored. Yes, I'm so honored to have these men in the program. We do not get paid for this. And these men do such a wonderful job. I create a curriculum of life skills, of anger management and workforce development that is instilled into these boys weekly. We meet weekly. We do not meet once a month, once every other month. We meet every week with these young men.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, it is very key, and I appreciate you talking about men, and we're going to get into what's going on in the country in a minute. But I wonder how these men, because my target audience was 13 to 21 when I was more active than I am now. I'm training two guys in the martial arts, 35 and 28. But the 13 to 21-year-olds, that key age where your brain hasn't fully developed, puberty has run amok, you're experimenting sexually. How is their relationships, if any, with the women in their life? Not only their mother, but any potential girlfriends, and how they see the relationship with women, because I think a lot of the anger and child support and dysfunctional children-parent relationships come from what they saw, how men dealt with women in their homes, or how they was taught to deal with women from their peers outside. How does that reflect in your mentorship, telling them how to deal with the opposite sex in the journey towards either marriage or long-term relationships?
Well, we go from 9 to 17. So we do talk about puberty.
Right.
We do have open dialogue about wet dreams and the difference of love, man and woman, and love that you see in a porn video. So, and back in the days when you Google sex, it will block it. You wouldn't just see. So now you put sex, all these different video sites come on.
11-year-olds are watching it.
Yes, that 11-year-olds are watching. And we let them know that, they're actors. They're not showing love. They're not showing any type of affection that is genuine. So we actually have classes with the boys in the program. Now, the older ones, there's some that's having sex, and we discuss treatment of a woman and young lady. These boys had going to the prom, suits. We had how to tie a tie and open the doors and paying those bills and things like that. But it's really the dialogue that you have with the girl, the communication. How do you communicate? If you have a disagreement, are you throwing something? Are you putting your hands on them? So those things we talk about because you're going to jail, and we make sure we emphasize that there's things that things you need to do. And the first thing you do is, if you feel like you're in a situation you can't handle, just walk away. Walk away and call one of us. So all the boys have our numbers. So if they have an incident or situation, and one of our boys had a situation at East Carolina, and he contacted me 2:00 in the morning, and I already knew that if he's contacting me this late at night, it's a problem. And
he was ready to do something.
Yeah, and that's what we're here for. If you have that person that you can reach out at 2 a.m, that's a life-saving person that you have there. And that's what happened, not just once, but it's been many times. Many times a child had a gun and he called me, and I went to the west side of Charlotte and had to talk him out of something. So this happens more than once, and that's what we're here for.
You're there before the police, which is good, because if somebody called the police, do we need to talk about the history of a police showing up at a young black man's residence or the streets? He's in a very dire situation, aggressive. He's going to get shot. He ain't going to get talked to like you would do. And I think Jim Brown's a Mayor I Can. I think you're familiar with that program. Yes. You sound similar, like what you're doing, what he did for years in California with the Crips and the Bloods. And I got personal situation I won't divulge on the air because I'd have to get deep with it. I have a family member that got involved in gang activity, and I reached out to him, and of course he's listening now, but he had to go through an adverse situation to do that. My position to you is, before we go to a break, and when we come on the other side, we're really going to get deep with what's going on in the country. My position to you as a young mentor who could identify with younger people, because I've had people tell me as an OG in his 60s, hey, I hear you, OG, but you don't know what we're going through. Yeah. And I have to walk them backwards and go, wait, before there was a lot of guns and there were drugs, there was cocaine, there was heroin, there was robberies. Yeah. I seen it. I listened to OGs tell me about the 40s and 50s when I didn't think they understood where I was coming from in the 70s. So when they sat me down and walked me through what gang activity on a different level happened in the 50s, it was more localized. It wasn't nationalized with colors like this. Yes. But it was gangs nonetheless, but it was more respectful, if you could say that, meaning we're going to duke it up with the hands, maybe a garbage can type, we're going to rumble in the park.
And you stay in your area. This is your area. This is your block. These 2 or 3 square blocks is yours, and this area is mine. That's it.
Respect the game. If it's a gang, respect me. If you come through here, we got to know why you have a gang mentality. Yeah. And gangs, the police are gangs, certain fraternities are gangs, if done wrong. Yeah. Meaning, if you hate somebody else and you don't think they're worthy of your stature, you'll gang up mentally against them. I don't like their colors. I don't like the way they look. I don't like they got money, I don't. See, when you go against somebody, in my perception coming up, you now have a gang mentality because the other person, if he don't have the numbers, he's helpless against the other guys who think like you to say, let's go against him, take him off, beat him up, clown him. Now with social media, you gang up on people and put their name out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Now this person is a victim of something he never did or she never did. So I think your program is teaching them how to be men, because ongoing, when they become seniors and elders, to me, they could look back like you're looking back on your life, brother, and you're saying, you know what? Here's the mistake I could have made. And that story you got, you tell somebody what you could have done, not only spiritually that could have destroyed you, but could have gave you a record. I would hope it gives them cause for pause to say, wait a minute, why am I so angry about something? And I'm sure that guy who did do what he did to you, karmactically, spiritually, I'm not wishing it on him, but something may have made him turn a life around to be better.
Brother Wale, he's dead. He died in jail. Somebody did to him what he did to me.
Wow. See, that's unfortunate karma, brother.
And this happened the year before last. So a lot of things that the young men in the program, some of the things that their responses are they fearful of their life from police officers. They scared that something's going to happen to them, either in their community or getting pulled over by a police officer. Now, these things that we have to tell them as young Black brothers, when you're in a car, we know our counterparts don't have to tell a 14 and 15-year-olds, don't move if a police car come behind us. Don't sneeze because we don't want the police officer to think you have something. Don't talk back because we don't want them to feel like they are being we trying to take their power away. So these are things that these young boys in the program discuss in our sessions, that they're fearful of being pulled over or having a run-in with a police officer. They feel like I have a few boys in my program that's about 6 feet tall, 250 pounds. They big, but they're the sweetest guys. But if you see them in the street, people move away, or they're in the supermarket or in the mall, people move out their way. And
like Mike Brown. Remember Mike Brown Ferguson?
Yes,
he
sir.
was big. He was a gentle giant, but it cost him his life because he looked intimidating.
Yeah. So, and I told them, I don't want you to look down at the ground. You look right in their eyes, because that's what they want. You know, people want you to bow down to them, and when you walk by them, look in the sky. No. We don't do that. You got to make sure you stand up straight. You look them in the eyes, because you're not a threat. You're not a threat. Okay, so those are some of the things building self-esteem with these boys. We have boys that have IEPs, they in special needs classes, and just because of behavior, not because of intelligence. They are, every last one of these boys in the program are intelligent. It's just we build that self-esteem to bring out that intelligence and that confidence so that we can know and that they can speak and not fight. If you have a problem, use your words. So those are the things that we try to teach them, how to use your words instead of your fist.
Your most lethal weapon is your mind. Remember that t-shirt?
Yes.
Your lethal weapon is your mind, how to use words, how to respect proximity, distance, how when you're looking in the eye, you don't seem like you're going to make a move. You know about Brooklyn and the Bronx. You get to drop on somebody and then they feel, uh-oh, let me pull mine. So you can look at somebody's eye and say, bro, we don't have to do this. And you know what, brother, you and I already think are going to collaborate in the future.
Oh, yeah.
But what I want to do is go to a quick break. Again, you're listening to good brother Christopher Timothy Fowler and me, Brother Wale, on Social Therapy on behalf of Dr. Brother Suave Walker. We're going to take a quick break. And of course, we'll be right back on the other side. Tell your people to know we're here for you too.
Programs like this are made possible by Neighborhood Planet Broadcasting Systems, Neighborhood Planet Network, iBlister Digital Media Creative, and from contributions to NPN TV from viewers like you. Thank you.
What's up, everyone? I'm Brandy the Disconnector, wife, show host, entrepreneur, investor, and ICS certified life coach, here to tell you that I'm on NPN TV, the network that is by us and for us. Lock in and let's get it.
another session of social therapy with our special guest, Brother Christopher Timothy Fowler. I can call you Tim, right, Tim?
You call me Tim. Call me Tim.
Yeah, I think that's how the good brother wanted to make sure you were addressed. And unless you guys don't watch TV, unless you really turn your radar off, unless you just took a break from any communications at all, you know what happened over the last 2 weeks in this country. Yesterday's mass shooting of 19 children and 2 adults, and 10 days earlier, 10 adults, mostly over 40 in Buffalo. And then we can go back to what happened in New York 3 weeks ago on the train. You already know about that. So we're talking about within a month, there are 3 different people, obviously, who has mental problems that had to take it out with a gun, mass shootings. What changes do you think, my brother, knowing that you deal with mentorship, knowing that somebody who didn't have a brother like you or me or anybody to reach out to, they're going to go wild in the streets. And this guy yesterday got taken out. They didn't kill Frank James, the brother with the gun.
Yeah.
They didn't kill the white boy last week, but they took out the Latino guy who killed them children. They murked him. Mm-hmm. What do you think the changes should be, if any, that could be viable towards helping people through crises before they pull the trigger?
Well, first, the public school system is such an overload for school counselors and social workers. That's so, especially, and I mean all schools. I don't care if you're a Title I school or you're a predominantly white school with, salaries range for $200,000 and up. It doesn't make a difference. That's first and foremost. And the workload is strenuous for social workers and school counselors. That's where programs like the Big Brothers, Big Sisters, like 100 Black Men, like Boys to Men Foundation, there needs to be programs in every school for programs like ours. It needs to be a program for girls. It needs to be a program for boys, not entwined. It needs to be separate programs inside every school. If they want the mentoring programs in schools, then each school better have a police officer assigned to each school. If we can spend billions of dollars for war, you can spend $1 billion to protect these children and these young adults from elementary to high school. So until we come to that, we're going to have to go to the next extreme. I didn't think I was going to wear masks.
We'll get that in a minute. There's a slight glitch. Hold on, brother Tim. I'm with you. If you can hear my voice, your screen froze. So you may want to tap your screen, brother. Don't worry, we're going to get it together, family. These things happen. Give me a high side when you on, good brother Tim. But he was saying something to the effect. There you go, brother.
Yep.
Temporary glitch. We got you back.
That's all right. That's all right. Listen, this technology. That's what I'm talking about. You got to keep it moving.
We're too powerful. They trying to stop the power. They can't stop the power.
They're trying to stop it. So, as a teacher, I can't tell you the fear and what I would do if somebody had to come in into my classroom or into the school, and I had to defend 18 5-year-olds. I don't want to be the one. I can hightail it out of there if I wanted to.
You're not a coward, brother. You're not a coward.
Yeah, that won't happen.
Exactly.
So the next extreme is that every school in the United States, that teachers are going to have to carry a gun. Now, the NRA is not going to say, "Hey, we don't want guns in our customers." To protect these kids, because you will guard an armored truck with your money, but you won't guard those precious babies.
Say that again, brother.
You will guard an armored truck with your money, but you won't guard these precious babies. So society, America, we got to make some decisions, because somebody's emailed me a list of all the schools that got massacred. It was
About
over
212 since this year
yes.
began.
It was from elementary to UNCC to so many. But I can tell you one thing: if every professor or every teacher in those buildings had a gun, they had thought about it. Now, I'm not one to say guns and we should do it, but this is just one of those extremes that is going to come because we are not taking every gun from every citizen in America. That won't happen. We will have civil
And
war. We will have civil war.
an 18-year-old, think about this, that majority, 70%, I heard Jalen Rose say this on NBA Countdown, 70% of the people who were mass shooters in schools are 18 and younger. 70%, meaning something in the school system is failing. Now, I'm not blaming the teachers. Hear me clearly. If 70% of an undeveloped 18-year-old's mind, even a 20-year-old's mind, is going back to a school, whether he either went or he believes he was failed,
yes,
is going to kill other students. To me, that's the mental part of it. These children didn't fail you. They're younger than you.
Yeah.
But him snapping all the way off and others, something in the schools, which are built most like prisons. Have you seen the construction of a lot of schools? The color scheme, the shape is built similar to a prison. The way you got to walk down the hall, the way it's built inside. So sometimes certain schools, hear me clearly, audience, is a pathway to prison if you're not educating and elevating the young people to get their minds and their curriculum together, like what this brother's doing, to let them see a future, not just algebra, trigonometry, geometry, and science. You have to let them see some potential because they may have pain at home. So now when these people get out of school and they get in the streets and they're allowed to buy semi-automatic weapons because of the Congress and the laws that are not passed to ban either these guns or not allow these people. I was talking to a good friend of mine, Ken, who said, maybe if we put the houses and the cost money that it will be lawsuits to the parents or the people who allow these people $400,000 to $500,000, you lose your house, your livelihood, because of you allowing that child to get access to that. You didn't know it. Too bad. You're responsible. Now that's a stretch, and I know lawmakers will fight to avoid that. But you got to be able to say, rather than shooting everybody up, we're in the wild, wild west right now. So if everybody's going to be armed and have to shoot everybody, somebody's still going to die, because no matter what laws pass, some nut is still going to find an AR-15 and go out to get killing in a mall, in a school, in a church. And now everybody, the pastor got to be armed, the pew got to be armed. We got to be shopping with Glocks hanging on the side of our hip. Where does it stop?
It won't stop. I mean, the internet is easy access. They changed the algorithms on the Google and the Yahoo and everything. The search engines of the algorithm has changed that you can put terrorism and all this stuff come up. You can put how to make a pipe gun and stuff come up. When internet just came out, the algorithms blocked a lot of this stuff. But because people make money and to have shows and to have followings of hate, because I'm gonna tell you this, there's so many different levels of so-called bullying. You was bullied.
Big time. Which is why I'm a martial artist for 49 years.
Absolutely. You got your mind strong first and your body.
Yes.
Because you have to get your mind strong first. Because you can dunk, but you can't play ball. You understand? So it is what it is.
I like that. I'm going to borrow that.
So you got to get your mind strong first. And we were bullied. What they consider bullying now is not bullying. I don't think so. Maybe I'm just too old school. So me saying that, I don't like your hairstyle. And bullying is consistent teasing, ongoing. Somebody just saying it one or two times and not paying you no mind, it's not bullying. Okay? And I'm going to go back to earlier when I said we have to learn to use our words. So if you feel like somebody is bullying you, You have to confront them
Mm.
verbally. Now, did you tell anybody that you were so-called being bullied? So there's a lot of things that we have to teach. And that's what I said earlier, that programs like ours and others that's wonderful around the country needs to be in all schools. It should be part of their curriculum. You got to go to your mentoring. When you've been to your mentoring class today?
Just like gym class.
Yes, sir.
Just like gym. Yes.
Yes.
Matter of fact, let's work on implementing that. As a matter of fact, you know the dozens back in the day, I know you signified.
Oh, yeah.
That helped us from being thought we were bullied. We got good at playing the dozens.
Oh, yeah.
So by the time we were snapping on somebody, we knew if his mother died, that's off limits. But everything else was fair game. Your shoes, your clothes, your girl, your hair. So anybody tried to bully you verbally, you were tough. But it made you tough mentally, so you didn't go around scared. I'm gonna go shoot him. He talked about my bad breath. Well, you do got bad breath. You know that, right? Yeah, but you didn't have to tell me. You need the Listerine bubble gum, right? So you have to be able to say, wait a minute. Now, girls signify too. Yeah. They just had less of a comeback. They had feelings. We just had to get tough. Yeah. And I'm saying all of that, my brother. That's a good idea about implementing your mentoring program, especially with young men and women. We need female mentors for the girls. Talk about teen pregnancy, because we don't need that to just run wild. But if we can get these programs implemented, and maybe if he would have had somebody to talk to, because this clown yesterday shot his grandmother first. Once you do that, you already know his mind is gone. His grandfather said, if I would have known, in Spanish, because I speak Spanish, I heard what he said, if I would have known he had access to a gun, I would have reported him. So he didn't have enough wherewithal to go to an uncle, a cousin, a brother, a mentor, and say, I'm about to kill everybody in the spot. Yeah. So what happened, Brother Tim, is what we saw in the news last night. And guess what? You, I, and people like us have to be aware. And I'm sure your next teachable moment, if you didn't do it yet, you're going to tell the young people, see the incident like that? And you have to ask what their feelings are. Before we go deeper, I'm going to go to a quick break again, because I know information like this deserves a 2-hour show. However, we don't have that. But I'm going to go to a quick break, come back on the other side, wrap up that part. Then we want to talk about the Boys to Men and how you're elevating it. So even incidences like yesterday, young brothers like you're mentoring will be able to verbalize it. So God forbid they encounter somebody, they can know how to handle it. We'll go to a quick break, come back with good brother Tim on the other side.
And a certified trauma counselor, and I am on NPN TV.
Welcome back with this edition of Social Therapy with me, your host, Brother Wale, and our good brother, Christopher Tim Fowler. On behalf of good Dr. Brother Suave Walker, who we know is handling business, everything's going to work out, brother. We got your back here. And this platform was definitely needed. And I just wanted to wrap that up, brother. I didn't want to just leave that subject hanging. I want any closing thoughts on what happened with that shooting and maybe how you're implementing a thought process with your young mentees so they could see how to process that in the future, because they're going to see it again, unfortunately.
But just like I said earlier, just create a safe space for those boys, and the dialogue is open, and they have our personal phone numbers. So from a parent to a teacher, anything, before COVID, we will go into their schools and sit down and have lunch with them and just be in the cafeteria. And let me tell you, if you want to gain trust of a young man who have anger issues or anything, as a man, you walk into his school during lunchtime, the whole cafeteria is going to go like this. They're going to stop and they're going to want to know whose father is here, who's in trouble. And I tell them, you come in there with that Chick-fil-A or McDonald's lunch bag and you sit there with them, that's it for him for the day. He's going to have a great day. He's going to have a great week. So before COVID, all the mentors used to try to find time to eat lunch. And that's how you have to gain these young men trust, because that's what they feel. A lot of them feel abandoned. The father left, the mother, and they feel like they left them. The mother has to go out to work. So she might have to do a double shift, or she might work second or third shift. So these boys have that abandonment feeling. So like me and you growing up, the gang, we was outside the house all day and all night. Their gang is the internet. The internet is their gang. So they find comfort in their video games, in the chat rooms of whatever chat room they feel like. So that young man yesterday, his gang probably was the internet. So when he says, hey, I'm okay, or he's on his video game, he might not have been on a video game. He might have been in a room talking about school violence. Or how can
he talked to a girl before that. Did you read that he was telling a girl what he was going to do? He chatted to a girl and said, I got something to tell you. She goes, I'm busy right now. He says, hurry up. It's a secret. He basically was giving her cryptic information that he was losing his time here in his brain. And when he went out and did it, it was already over. Now he, like you said, the internet, the web, the www is trapping our people. We went outside and played. Now they're playing with each other. And these young people, I believe, you know what a Manchurian candidate is, right? When somebody's programmed to kill.
Not the same.
I don't want to be conspiratorial, but to me, when you're that young and you're that good with arms and body armor, you didn't just buy guns, you know about body armor. Something has been talked to by somebody online, how to use these tactical weapons, how to get away. Even though he got killed, before he was killed, one man killed 23, right? We include his grandmother. And then he shot one of the sheriffs. So how did you get that skill to do that? And the same thing with the guy last week, and anybody who's trained to get into schools like Cho back in 2007. The reason I'm saying that, when people is out there training in these gun ranges, I think everybody at a gun range should have a background check on them too, a mental evaluation. Because if you're coming to practice with the gun, don't just stop them from buying the gun. Wait, we need to make sure, who are you in here training with this, whatever you're training in? So those things, I think, brother, and I wanted to ask you for that wrap up, because I think it's not as easy as saying this needs to be done. Let's shoot them. It's too much information.
It's too much.
Your programs, my thoughts, my podcast, whatever, are just tips of the iceberg. But as long as we're doing our part, we got to just hope within the resources we have that everybody else doing their part will reach guys like him and others coming before they meet their eventual death. Because guess what, Tim? I'm with you. I'm the teachers. I'm the pastors. I'm the grocers. We can't just die and let that be the answer. Oh, Lord, let's pray again and have a vigil and be angry at congressmen. No. Let's try to use it mentally first. help them. If that doesn't work, well, just like you go in the jungle, animals fight back. Sometimes the hunter is the hunted. And we got to make sure we let people know who may lose their stuff, get your help, because there's somewhere else for you. If you don't, you come this way. And we don't want that to sound like violence beget violence, but we don't want to be victims. We want to be victors. And I think the essence of elevating your mind is the first level of victory to be a better person, which leads me to ask you, how do you see the Boys to Men program, the long-term effects outside of Charlotte, Brooklyn? I mean, do you have plans for an East Coast or national chapter of this?
Well, I have plans to branch out to Charleston, South Carolina, Sarasota, Florida, and Bradenton, Florida, and Orlando, Florida. So we try to go the southern part first, and then me and the board was actually talking about Washington, D.C., the Triad area of D.C. So those are the places that we try to branch out outside of Charlotte.
What's the response?
Wonderful, wonderful. And I didn't touch bases because we do an apprenticeship for the past 7 years with Hendrix here in Charlotte. So we using Hendrix as our mother and our collaborator, because the boys work during the summer. The 14 to 17-year-olds do apprenticeship. They don't get paid. And they work at Mercedes-Benz, Lexus, Audi, and BMW. They are in all parts of the store. They're in sales, they're in marketing, they're in service, they're all over. We actually had 2 boys this past year get hired at BMW.
That's good. BMW, that's great.
So these things, they learn how to speak. They learn how to deal with other coaches. As I said, they are at high-end stores. So they are learning how to intertwine with somebody and have a customer who's a millionaire that want to buy a Mercedes-Benz or a 745 or whatever car, and they learn it. They learn how to be a better communicator. And that's that goal, to be a productive citizen, to contribute to society financially, build your family, build your wealth. So these are the things that we are working with Hendrix, and they have done a wonderful job. And this is when it's not a black or white thing. It's just a society trying to uplift somebody else. And that's the main thing with these young men that we try to do is, listen, it's not you against the world. And that's probably how that young man felt. It's not you against the world. So when you put them in different situations that they're not home, and I think you said it earlier, we was outside. So I grew up, like I told you before, in that 2 or 3 block radius.
Right.
It took me until I went working outside the block to realize how much the world is big. So we take these boys everywhere. We take them out to dinner. We take them to plays. We take them to shows. So they're not stuck in the house. They're not on their block. So you got to take them out the block. You got to take them and throw so much culture at them that they don't want to be on the internet. And they realize, hey, what's going on the internet is not all true. Right. So when they go outside, hey, all black people don't sell drugs. All white people are not ignorant. So
and are not rich. Some people have said they think white people all got the money and they don't. It's like, whoa. There's Appalachia. And we're not promoting that. We're saying all black people ain't poor, not on welfare. Yeah. So you got to see what the DL Hughley say. In order to be a man, you got to see a man. Sometimes these young got to, see culture, see strength, black families. One of the things I can encourage you to do, my wife and I tried to get to go on tour with me. I've been with her 40 years come October. I try to get young people to be encouraged to be around couples who have had more than 25 years together to show that love is challenging. It ain't all peaches and cream. You're going to be challenged, but quitting ain't your first option. Anger, yelling, I'm going to get another woman. I'm going to turn her in for the new model. She gained weight. Wait a minute. Stop. Pause. How did your father do your mother? Was that the objective? Your father left your mother like that? And you're not being egregious with that. You're saying, what did you see as imaging to where you think quitting is the first option?
Yeah.
So the cultural thing is a great elevator, I think. Like, let them see museums, plays. Let them talk about what they saw. Water, lake, not amusement parks. Take them to places where they can exercise not only their mind, their body, but maybe even talk about our ancestors. Spiritually know, hey, you know what tribe you probably came from? Read this book, Nile Valley Civilization, whatever, by Tony Browder. They could read different elements. And I was a student of Dr. John Henry Clark in 1979, Hunter College. And I'm a graduate of Hunter College, by the way.
Yeah.
I know Mega Evans. We used to hang at your college.
Dr. Betty Shabazz was one of my professors.
So you already know.
Oh yeah. When you have people like that, and that's why I get on the boys too, because she used to tell me she did not like me using a lot of slang. And people tease me here because I say the last letter of words, and it's just things was important. And I did a year in Syracuse, but going to Meg Evans was a whole lot different. Those other professors in Syracuse let me slide because where I was from. The professor at Mega Evans did not let me slide because where I was from. So both had different reasons to let
infusions in your life. Yes. You know what I want you to do, Tim, for me? We got about 2 minutes. I want you to give out all your contact information. Okay. We need too many people that need to contact you, brother. Website, phone numbers, however they can reach you. Yes. Please give that out.
You go to our website. It's boystomenfoundation.org. Or you can do btmfoundation.org. Both will register. Phone number 704-858-3790. Timothy.Fowler at boystomenfoundation.org. That's everything. You can find me. Thank goodness I'm not involved with the FBI or some legal.
You're gonna have people reaching out, including me. And what I want to do, bro, I'm gonna reach out to you. I'm gonna get your contact information from our producer here, who's doing a great job, and Dr. Brother Suave. We're gonna collaborate because you're in Charlotte now, right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
I'm in Stone Mountain, so we one state above.
Yeah.
We in number 4 or 5 hours, right?
That's it. We actually have an event coming June 18th.
In Georgia?
Daddy Day in the Park. So
where at?
It's going to be at the Stratford Richardson YMCA here in Charlotte.
Well, let's do this. You and I are going to collaborate offline probably in the next 48 hours. I want to give you some information. I want the show producer to give you my podcast information. What I do, my show this week is called A New Story in an Old Book. I'll get into it on the show. But this has been great. The social therapy I received from you, brother, you helped massage my mind because I'm glad to see young brothers doing what you do and continuing on the fight. I was big into it for a longer period of time, but you've been more consistent, and I appreciate that. Our families appreciate it. We need this, brother. Don't you stop. No. I'm going to hold you to this. Is that okay?
Hold me to it.
And hold me to mine, too. Because we brothers got to see brothers like us and elevate themselves to be better than us. And maybe our world will be better for it.
Maybe so. But I hope somebody listening and can understand that the magnitude what mentoring will do to young people in schools. So I hope somebody tell their legislator or whoever that, hey, somebody said that there should be mentoring programs in all schools and we should have a budget for that. So
we'll work on that, brother. Well, listen, on behalf of the good brother, Dr. Suave R. Walker, me, Brother Wali, our special guest, Mentor Supreme, Boys to Men founder, Christopher Tim Fowler. This has been an episodic, elevated episode of Social Therapy. I was pleasure to host. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, family. We love you. There's nothing you can do about it, like the good brother says. And we'll see you next week on the other side. Thank you again, my brother Tim. We're going to stay in touch.
Thank you.
Peace, my brother.
Tune in and stream live now. Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave, the podcast, is now being broadcast on NPN Voice. NPN Voice can be found on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud, and now on Audible and Amazon Music, and anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast. Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave, the podcast, now on NPN Voice. NPN Voice. Got voice. You heard? This program was made possible by Neighborhood Planet Broadcasting Systems, Neighborhood Planet Network, and from contributions to NPN TV from viewers like you. Thank you.